Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Selby series. Selby is one of 11 subdivisions of the county of North Yorkshire. It's made up of 74 civil parishes, a lot of which are very small. Which one are we in this week? Now, not that long ago, right here in the district of Selby, we visited the parish of Tadcaster, Selby, which was a dead end thanks to a rather big natural landmark, and that was the River Ouse. Here, it's pretty much the same story, but this has got nothing to do with a river, even though there is a river very close to this village. This is another dead end, and I'm at that dead end right here. You can't go any further by car, at least. You can on foot, because right there's a public footpath, but that's not very helpful to us. So I'm going to start here and walk straight down this road into the village of KIRKBY WHARFE. This is the parish of KIRKBY WHARFE with North Milford. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. KIRKBY WHARFE with North Milford is an interesting slice of land some 1.9 miles south of Tadcaster in North Yorkshire. As its name suggests, it's based around two settlements. These are North Milford, a tiny farming hamlet, and KIRKBY WHARFE, which is where we are to begin with, although in truth, this isn't much bigger than North Milford. The area around KIRKBY WHARFE was settled in Roman times, with a permanent settlement being started here in the 8th century. Even combined, KIRKBY WHARFE and North Milford settlements do not form their own parish council, and they're grouped together with Grimston and Towton to form a parish council with one of the longest names in the country. That name can be seen on this parish notice board: Towton, Grimston and KIRKBY WHARFE with North Milford. Try saying that a few times fast. Both KIRKBY WHARFE village and Grimston Park, which is right next to this, came under the influence of the Baron of Pontefract at the time of Domesday. Now, save for a few more properties that way and for a few more properties down there, that really is KIRKBY WHARFE. There isn't much more to it, apart from a church, which is up there, and there's a churchyard extension as well to see down that way too. But KIRKBY WHARFE is a very, very small place. You don't get much for your money out here. The village is recorded in the Domesday Book as being Churchybi, literally church village. Its full name makes complete sense when you consider the northern boundary is the River Wharfe. Therefore, KIRKBY WHARFE is quite literally the church village by the wharf, and the church is still very much here. Its dedication is to St. John the Baptist. A church existed here before the Norman Conquest, but this building probably dates originally from about 1150. Much of it was built in the 14th century, and it serves as the parish church for the ecclesiastical parish of KIRKBY WHARFE and Ulleskelf. St Saviour's at Ulleskelf was a chapel of ease. You'll remember from last week that has now been turned into the village hall there. From the churchyard we can see west into the Grimston Park estate. Grimston was the former seat of Lord Lonsborough. The estate buildings have been converted into luxury accommodation, but check out this old ancient cross just inside the park gates. So it's this drive here which is the reason why Kirkby Wharfe is a dead end. You can't go any further than here, without permission at least anyway. Because as you can see, it's a private drive and it leads onto the Grimston estate. Grimston Hall is down there, a few other bits and bobs. Now Grimston is a civil parish in its own right. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to visit that one, especially considering most of it is off limits. I think there are a few bits I can potentially film. But we're not bothered about Grimston at the moment. We're bothered more about Kirkby Wharfe. And that's as far as we can go here. Time to go and have a look at the Churchyard extension. Aside from Grimston Park, the rest of the area around Kirkby Wharfe is lush green countryside. The area northeast of the village is a designated SSSI, first notified in 1984. The floodplain of the River Wharfe is an important site for marshland and the associated plants that grow on marshland around Dorts Dike, a tributary of the Wharfe that enters the river at Ulleskelf. Where we're heading now is to St John the Baptist Church Burial Ground Extension, which is a small cemetery off this road into the village. The lit gate here is every bit as interesting as what's inside the cemetery. Under the roof there's a lintel with the words "To the memory of Thomas and Martha Fielden," erected by their children. The Fielden family still partially own the Grimston Park estate. John Fielden, whose father was a famous cotton manufacturer, bought the estate in 1872 for £265,000. There's a war memorial in here which serves the same purpose as all the others we've been honoured to see, but Kirkby Wharfe has much more wartime history than this. Well, the sign on the gate is definitely not kidding when it comes to Commonwealth war graves. Look how many there are here. There's loads. That's quite amazing. I don't think I've ever seen a place that's got so many of these, except for maybe in Finningley. That's one place I can think of that I did see a lot of these. But certainly nowhere in Selby. These are the graves of 23 World War II airmen in a special group on a portion of land set aside by the Parochial Church Council for the use of the RAF Fighter Section Station at Church Fenton. Also buried here are 2 pilot officers belonging to the RAF who were killed in an aircraft accident in 1939. The extension also contains the grave of 1 British soldier who died during World War I. Kirkby Wharfe might be small, but it does have a few regular events. There's an entire Facebook group dedicated to the Kirkby Wharfe Village Fete, for example. It's linked below. And whilst it may not have much more in the way of public services, you can access a defib machine outside the White House, which is also where the key for the church can be obtained. So the village maintains a post box as well. Vital services. Always a good thing to see one of those, even in such a small place. Okay, that's Kirkby Wharfe. Now what about North Milford? Now that, believe it or not, is actually smaller than this. There isn't really much to show you there. We're going to drive down to it and then drive back out of it, because that, I believe, is a dead end as well, and then head off to the next one. There'll be no picture bit in this episode. Let's go to North Milford and see what we can find. The rest of this video sees us take a drive to North Milford via a couple more things in Kirkby Wharfe. To start with, we're heading for Stockwell Stud and Livery Stables at Kirby Grange. Stockwell has been a stud since the middle of the 19th century and has also been used as a training stables during the 20th. It was originally known as Kirby Farm. It was renamed to commemorate the great sire Stockwell, 7 times champion sire, sire of 3 Derby winners and himself winner of the 2000 Guineas and the St Leger. According to the map, Dragon Willow is also based at Stockwell Stud. That's something completely different. It's a willow weaving business run by Leila Viner. I've linked their site below. Generally speaking, her willow weaving began as a hobby through medieval reenactment around the year 2000. Her first items were life-sized medieval items. This led to everyday items like baskets and decorations, and now Dragon Willow run willow weaving workshops all over this part of Yorkshire, including at Nostell Priory in Wakefield. Now we're heading for North Milford, another dead-end village which is much smaller than Kirkby Wharfe, if you can believe that. To get there we have to cross the B1223 New Road at a staggered crossroads as we head to the south. Ulleskelf is to our left here, and Grimston, Tadcaster and the road to Towton is to the right. North Milford has a much larger twin brother, South Milford, which lies to the south of Sherburn in Elmet, quite a way away from here. The name is pretty self-explanatory. Milford literally means the ford by the mill, and the mill in question is likely to be one at Sherburn in Elmet, close to the mill dike. Both of those things will be covered in later episodes, but as far as North Milford goes, there isn't really much to tell you about it. The road runs to a farm eventually, North Milford Grange. North Milford covers some 600 acres, a portion of the former KIRKBY WHARFE township. On foot, you can reach Church Fenton from here. The road might be a dead end, but you can carry on up a bridleway which will take you to Church Fenton railway station. With not much else to show you, we head back to the B1223 where we'll find an essential public service, which even some tiny places like these still have. And even though these places are quite small, there's still a bus stop, because people still need to get around on public transport if they can't drive. The 825 is the bus you need here, and you can catch it between KIRKBY WHARFE, which is down there, and North Milford, which is down there. And there you go. That is the parish of KIRKBY WHARFE with North Milford, one of the smallest I've covered in Selby. Next time out, we'll be going to a place that's a lot bigger. I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.